Assalamualaikum. Okay, for today's presentation, Aiman Hakim bin Azzizi from Islamic Banking courses from class BA 2495A. The product I would like to present today is ASB Financing-I from Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Before we go further, let me tell you the flow of my presentation today. First of all, we will discuss on what is ASB itself. After we know what is ASB, then we can discuss about what is ASB Financing-I provided by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Here, we want to know how ASB Financing-I work and some benefits and features it provides to us as their client. And next, we will talk about the strength and the weakness of ASB Financing-I. Then, we will give some suggestion to improvise the product to become more favorable by their users. And lastly, we will give our conclusion regarding the product itself. So, ASB is the acronym for Amanah Saham Bumi Putra. It is a special unit trust fund managed by Permodalan Nasional Berhad (PNB). It is a government-linked investment company. As its name, Amanah Saham Bumi Putra, this kind of investment is made specially for native like Malay and those who stay at Sabah and Sarawak. Okay. This investment is created in order to minimize the gap of economy with other races like Chinese and Indian, and also giving experience in investing for those who have never doing any investment before. As for its benefits, first of all, the capital in ASB itself is guaranteed by third party, which is the government. So, people can rest assured not to worry about losing their money in ASB. Okay. Next, the ASB unit is a fixed unit price, RM1 for 1 unit, and this ratio will not change. And lastly, people can easily withdraw their money at any time as they like in this investment. Okay, now let's talk about ASB Financing-I by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. Okay, first let me explain to you how ASB Financing-I work. In a normal circumstances, people will put a sum of money in their ASB account, and at the end of the period, they will receive dividend from ASB investment. Unfortunately, that method can be considered ineffective because there is no significant difference from putting their money on a normal saving account or put it in ASB. There are no big difference. There are about not that much of difference. So to make ASB become more interesting, to make people favor for putting their money in ASB, ASB Financing-I is introduced by Bank Islam into the market to inspire people to do investment. Okay. The idea is people will go to Bank Islam to make some financing under a tower model to get some huge amount of money. Then the money will automatically transfer to client ASB account. For instance, people make ASB financing with Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad with a total of RM100,000. Okay. If at that year ASB announced the dividend received for their investor is 10%, for example, it means people will get RM10,000 from their investment as their dividend only in 1 year, which is a huge amount of return. So that's the general idea on why BIMB, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, providing ASB financing-I to their client. So let's discuss some of the features in Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. First of all, the minimum amount in order to do ASB financing with Bank Islam is RM10,000, and you can do the financing up to RM200,000. The period to pay back for ASB financing is from 1 year to 40 years, or when you are 70 years old at the end of the payment period, whichever earlier. As for the eligibility, you must be a Malaysian citizen and being a native, 18 years old when signing the contract, and must not be a bankrupt person. Okay, now, there are 5 strengths of ASB Financing-I provided by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. The first one is ASB Financing-I can give you a lot of return as it using compounding method in calculating the profit gain. Easy understanding, the longer you hold your money in ASB account, the more profitable it is for the users. Second, ASB never giving dividend and profit less than 5% except for the last year. Not to mention the investment in ASB are very low risk. So getting 5% is already a huge amount for risk. Thirdly, as a normal citizen, ASB Financing-I can be considered as a good tool in creating a good credit score and central credit information system, CCRIS. If we manage to pay the monthly payment to on time without any default payment, so if we want to make another financing in the future, the process will become smoother compared to those who did not have any record when we talk about fresh grad or new employed person. Next, as an Islamic bank, for sure, this product itself is a permissible and free from any prohibitive element such as riba, rara, and maisir, as the contract is using tower model, which is sales and purchase contract. Last but not least, people can choose either to contribute for takaful when doing ASB Financing-I as preventive method if something bad happened to the client. For example, if the client died after 5 years of contract, his family need not to worry about monthly payment for ASB financing anymore because the takaful company will pay the remaining amount on behalf of the client and the family will get the benefits from it. So, after we know the strength of ASB financing from Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, now let's clarify one thing first. There is no perfect Islamic banking products in the world. There will always flaw or weakness in every product, either it is from client perspective or bank perspective. Now, let's discuss the weakness from ASB financing products. From my point of view, first thing first, as a Muslim, there is no one obligation that some people miss or didn't notice in it in the first place. What I mean here is zakat payment. People like to seek for more wealth, and it is permissible in our religion. But sometimes people just forget that they need to pay zakat. So in our cases, it is about dividend from ASB financing and ASB investment. Some people like to hold the dividend, and some of them will immediately withdraw it. But there is high tendency for them to not pay zakat because of lack of awareness and not knowing about it. Secondly, if we compare the floating rate offered by BIMB with another bank, there is a huge difference on it. If we take a look at the bar chart here, we can see clearly that Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad is giving the highest floating rate offered compared to other banks like Maybank Islamic Bank, Hong Leong Islamic Bank, and CIMB Islamic Bank. A small difference on rate will affect the monthly payment amount, and it will be worse the longer period you are making financing with the bank. The average period of people make for ASB financing is about 25 years. That means by making ASB Financing-I with Hong Leong Islamic Bank, people will save at least thousands until the period ends. As for the third weakness, ASB itself currently is giving lower return compared to past 5 and 10 years back then. The reason why people are willing to make ASB financing is because the investment were able to give more than 10% return at the initial period of that unit trust. But now, even last year, the dividend is less than 5%. The last weakness I want to mention actually is like a double-edged sword. What I mean here is about the liquidity. As I mentioned before, in ASB, people can easily withdraw their money, so there are high tendency for people to dry out their account and left nothing for compounding effect. Because of this, people will become stressful and they want to terminate their contract because the return received from ASB financing is not as profitable as they expected. Plus, they still need to pay the monthly payment for it. So, now we already know some of the weaknesses experienced by Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. As an Islamic banking student, I think I need to give some recommendation in order to make this product become favorable by the client. So, the first idea is, as a Muslim who have an obligation to pay zakat, it is relevant for Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad make an auto zakat deduction from ASB investment, or at least make it as a choice for client to have the features in their contract. With this feature, the Islamic title in Bank Islam itself will be more reliable than before. Next, the second recommendation. Maybe BIMB can consider to give a fixed rate in their contract instead of variable rate that will keep changing based on the current overnight policy rate (OPR) and standardized base rate (SPR). With this, people can have no worry about the current rise of OPR, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. If my second idea is not applicable or not relevant, maybe Bank Islam can consider to reanalyze and re-strategize their current floating rate offer and make it lower. This is to make sure that BIMB can become more competitive and catch up with their rival performance. Next idea is about the double-edged sword that I mentioned before. We know that in ASB, they are using compounding method. So, in order to take advantage of it, Bank Islam should make some restriction when people come to withdraw their money. This feature is none other to help the investor to get more money at the end of investment period in ASB. Lastly, this is an additional method in case of default payment. In current ASB financing, if people make a default payment, they need to pay for late payment charge or takwid in order to compensate some losses back by Bank Islam. So the idea is, rather than applying takwid, why not we use the dividend that we restrict from drawing to be the additional method of paying monthly payment for ASB financing. For sure, further discussion need to be made for this last idea, but I think this is a nice idea, not only for client but also for the bank. In the end, these are my ideas and recommendations for Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad to improve their product. As for the conclusion, we can conclude that Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad need to back to their basic of objective. Why they introducing ASB financing in the first place? It is true that BIMB want to seek for profit, but I believe they still can make profit even with lower rate given to their investor, to their client. It is important to them to keep BIMB as one of the most competitive financial institutions, especially when BIMB already represent on how an Islamic bank should operate. So I think that's all for me. Thank you.